What has got to be particularly concerning for the former president is that this comes as Ron DeSantis has emerged as not just a, but the serious challenger to Trump in 2024. One recent survey put DeSantis within single digits of Trump nationally, the first time a Republican has been anywhere close to Trump in eons. Another major survey actually has DeSantis leading in the all-important battleground state of New Hampshire. So is the Ron DeSantis show at Fox News just the beginning? Joining us now is Robby Soave, senior editor for Reason magazine and host of the Hill TV's Rising. Robby, thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. All right, so are we making too big a deal about this video?
No, I don't think so. And in fact, I think it's pretty clear that many in conservative media, not just Fox, obviously prefer DeSantis. Probably not, in addition to maybe liking him better as a Republican figure, thinking reasonably that DeSantis is much more likely than Donald Trump to win against presumably Joe Biden in 2024. So they're making a strategic bet that that's just a better candidate. And really those people surveyed, I bet that's what's at the heart of their preference for DeSantis, is knowing that Trump lost to Biden, perhaps when any other Republican would have won or at least been closer. And now in an environment that is so favorable to a Republican challenger, wouldn't it be the party shooting themselves in the foot to put up once again the one guy who's less popular than, the letter R by itself?
Right. I mean, and if you viewed this video in a vacuum, right, and you said there was an anti-Trump video, Fox would hear it from all of their viewers. They'd be furious. They'd be angry. But when you frame it within this context, which is, we're not saying it's anti-Trump, we're just saying that it's pro-DeSantis instead of Trump, it becomes much more palatable.
It does. And the key to this whole battle between the two of them, and I do expect, by the way, that there will be a battle between the two of them. I think Trump will decide to run, and DeSantis as well. He certainly should. This is his moment. He shouldn't wait any longer than that. And I think DeSantis is absolutely capable of defeating Trump in the primaries, in part because he will be preferred by many in conservative media. The question will become, how does the base feel? And that will be ultimately the most important thing. If the base likes both candidates, DeSantis will have an advantage. If the base says, no, you know what, we really do like Trump better than DeSantis, then no amount of conservative media attempting to change the conversation is going to matter. But if they're both liked by the base, then this kind of coverage could be the real decider for DeSantis.
And real quick, does this kind of stuff lead Trump to try to jump into the race earlier so that he can try and force DeSantis' hand, for example, in the re-election campaign that he's got in Florida? Trump announces and then says to DeSantis, you better support me now or I'm not going to help you in Florida?
I've certainly been hearing rumors to that effect. Trying to predict what Donald Trump is going to do is impossible, as we've known for the last several years. He could declare tomorrow. He could decide ultimately to stay out of the race. But I bet he does not like how much positive attention DeSantis is getting. It comes across in some of the interviews Trump has given. He takes kind of shots at DeSantis, Trump does. So I'm sure he does not like it one bit.
Yeah, every time a Trump spokesperson is asked about DeSantis, they lump him in with all the rest of the governors across the country who have benefited from the largesse of Donald Trump. Robby Soave, thanks so much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.